All right, so if we're all set up, mine, you can get started whenever you're ready.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So, is my audio all right, or do we have a lag, or can you just let
You're
me know?
coming in good.
Okay, that's great. Let me just try screen sharing.
All right, so if we're all set
Can
up,
is this
mine, you can
visible?
get started whenever you're ready. Yep, I see it.
All right, awesome. So let's get started. So yeah, thanks a lot, Jaris, for hosting this event and inviting me, and thanks to all of you for joining in. Also thanks to Bankless for the opportunity. So I'm Aman. I'm growth and product at DeepDAO, and I would like to talk to you about the futures, about some of the features that we have on DeepDAO, some of the data, just show you around. We've released a few new features in the past couple of months. So I also want to get your feedback on them during this session. Since there aren't a lot of people, I think we can keep it fairly interactive. So feel free to interrupt me at any time and ask me questions and things like that. All right. So, DeepDAO, as you know, is a DAO discovery engine. Uh, the project started over 2 years back, collecting information on DAOs and trying to give a good picture of what a DAO stands for to the wider Web3 ecosystem. At this moment, we list over 10,000 DAOs. It's approaching 11,000 now. It's 10,700 something. Uh, and in all of them, we have around $9 billion in treasury. I'm not getting into numbers at the starting, but if you come to DeepDAO, what you can find is information on all of these almost 11,000 organizations. You can find information like what's in their treasury, who are the people contributing to these DAOs, what kind of a decision making mechanism are they using, what kind of response is this particular governance mechanism getting, etc. We can go into those a bit later, but this is one side of deep DAO, you being able to find information on DAOs and things like that. DeepDAO also has a few other sites. For example, if you can come to DeepDAO to find information on people like you and me or Jaris. For example, you can just toggle this organizations to people and search for your Ethereum address or your ENS names, and it would essentially take you to your DAO profile, which is a page that aggregates all your information, your voting activity, your proposal activity, and all the DAOs that we list. We'll also look at that a little bit later. So you have DAOs on DeepDAO, you have people, you also have a page that gives you information about all the tools in the ecosystem. You can categorize them by their category and get a more filtered list. And there's also a bunch of other things, like we have a knowledge center as well as a DAO feed. Um, for example, we track a number of governances. We track Compound, we track Moloch, we track Snapshot, Aragon, things happening in Substrate and Solana. And if you need a one single feed of all this activity, then you can just come to this page and you can find a cumulative uh, DAO activity aggregated across chains and governance frameworks. So there's a bunch of stuff here. Uh, I wouldn't have time to go over all of it, but let me just uh, welcome your attention to some of the things which I see, that people may not always notice. For example, if you come to the homepage, apart from the treasury, we have like a few interesting indicators here, like how many organizations or how many DAOs are over 1 million of treasury, and you can see this is around 130. And out of the 2,300 DAOs that we have, treasuries, this is not a large percentage. We also have some stuff here, like on DeepDAO, you can find information on like 5.1 million participants who are participants in all of these DAOs we list, and about 1.6 million of them are active voters and proposal makers. There's a lot of these numbers that you can find sprinkled around the website. I'll let you go over it. We also have categories here, which lets you, select categories for DAOs so that, you can filter this big list of DAOs. For example, if you just need DeFi DAOs, you can click on that and it would give you a list of DeFi DAOs. If you just need, say, political DAOs, you can click on that and it would give you what they are. The definition of them is obviously, up to our research team.
Aman,
So, yeah,
quick one, are you showing us the categories and everything and these numbers? Like I know you've been explaining, and I was just wondering, are you also doing that on the screen?
really, you can't see it?
I see one static screen. I see your mouse
Oh,
moving as
man.
well, but no, I don't see the categories and all that, or the numbers you mentioned. Is it just me?
Oh, I think I. Okay, can you see this now? Can you see me scrolling?
Uh,
What about
yeah,
now?
now I see. Yeah.
I think I shared just the other window and that is stuck.
Okay,
Man.
yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
sorry, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, just to summarize it in 2 lines, if you come to the homepage of DeepDAO, you can get information on DAOs. There is this huge list of DAOs here, which can be filtered by category, which can be accessed by dropping this menu here. You can find information on people by clicking on this people page, or just searching by toggling the search bar here and searching for your ENS name or your Ethereum address, whatever you please. You also have other stuff here, like this is the DAO feed I was telling you about, where you get all the aggregated activity, governance activity across all DAOs, across all chains and frameworks. So essentially, there's a lot of data here, and you can access it through the different menus here. So uh, I was talking about this, that we have categories that you can use to get a filtered list of DAOs. For example, if you need DAOs that are working with physical assets, you can click on this and get DAOs like MoonDAO or VitaDAO or Cabin. So there's a bunch of stuff here, so play around with it. In case you are members of other DAOs that are not already listed on DeepDAO, you can click on this list DAO button here and add all the details of the DAO and get it listed. Our tech stack would pull all the data in and you'd have a profile in no time. So feel free to do it. There's also a few buttons here. This is notification and this is something else. So I'll get to this in some time. So let's look at Bankless's profile on DeepDAO for a moment. I feel like there's some data there which people may not always notice. For example, yeah, this is Bankless's profile on DeepDAO. We have Treasury. We have like it has almost 6,000 token holders, and 3.4K of them are lifetime participants. This is actually a great ratio. It's one of the healthiest ratios I've seen. Like almost half of the token holders at the moment have like voted or proposed at least one time. That's I don't see that often. So kudos to you guys. It aggregates 68 proposals here, and you can see all the treasuries that we list here. If there are missing treasuries, do tell us or update here if you have control of your DAO. It lists 3 governances that we have, and it also gives you the contract of the token. So this is a format that for any DAO listed on DeepDAO, you can get all the contract addresses and treasuries and tokens and governances at the bottom right corner of this page. And it also shows you a time series of the treasury and its current holding are, for example, this. There is this uh, functionality here which tells you which DAOs have the most common members between Bankless and them. For example, ENS has almost 3,000 members uh, who are also in Bankless, and that's like more than half of the Bankless token holders at the moment. So that's a huge ratio. But we understand given that it's ENS, but you can also see that float has also around half the members of Bankless. I think that is unexpected. Maybe to me, you guys might know why it is so. And you can see like there are a lot of DeFi DAOs in this list that have a lot of members in common with Bankless. You also get a list of top stakeholders based on activity. For example, these are the addresses that have voted or proposed the most number of times in Bankless DAO. This is a finite list here, like, and these are the addresses that holds the maximum amount of Bankless tokens. So this is just the finance side of things. You also get a similar bird's eye view for governance. For example, things like how many proposals have been there, how many proposal creators have been there, and okay, this number is wrong, uh, and the participation ratio and average votes per proposal and things like that. Uh, so this tells you about the organization's finance and its treasury. If you want to know about the people in this organization, you can go to these tabs, and it would give you a list of who are the people participating in Bankless. I see that many of them have ENS. Some of them have created profiles in DeepDAO, so that's happy. Uh, and you can even see things like coalitions. Coalitions are when two addresses vote together, so that they are forming a power structure within the DAO. When you need to analyze the power of this coalition, you need to be looking at them together because they are voting together all the time. I don't know who icedcool.eth is or stephnail.eth is, but perhaps you guys might be familiar. But they have voted like 39 times together, and that's like 75% of all the proposals or whatever. So what we have seen in many of the DAOs is that if you consider the coalitions of 5 or 10 people who are very active in the DAOs, then you actually get a very powerful entity that can control the voting outcome of proposals, very much. So when we analyze the power of an organization or how decentralized it is, we take things like this into consideration. So you can also see things like this. The front end only gives you 2-member coalitions, but more can be accessed through our API. So this is the data that is there on the DAO. Yeah.
Come on, just curious, what do you mean by coalition exactly? What is happening when there is a coalition?
Uh,
Is-
these two addresses are voting together. They are like they have the same opinion on same proposals. And when we notice this pattern over and over again, we say that this is a coalition. For example, Stefnil and iSchool had the same opinions on 39 proposals.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happens. So like a large. So this can happen like very frequently where two or more addresses have the same opinion on almost all proposals. And then we'd be like, if they also have a decent amount of number of tokens, then they are a significant. Uh, they can be considered as a single player when you analyze votings and things like that. So yeah, that's where the idea of coalitions come from. We actually have a data scientist working on this, and when we try to do some predictive analysis, if you consider larger groups of coalitions, we can actually predict voting outcomes to a fairly good amount of accuracy. For example, if there is an active proposal at this moment, and say that the top coalition of 5 or 10 members have actually voted in a particular manner, then we can predict based on the past governance activity of the DAO whether that proposal will pass or it will go the other way. So it's very useful when you're analyzing the decentralization of the organization and things like that. It's an interesting data. So yeah, a lot of data, a lot of similar data about the DAO is available here. Now let's look at uh, the people side of things. For example, if I look at the top stakeholders based on activity, the front end tells me that this person is the top stakeholder. Like let's look at his or her or their profile. It takes some time to load. So yeah, this person He's ranked 21. That's outrageously high. We have like 5 million people, and 21 is like that's crazy. But you can see some interesting things here. For example, this person is a member of 39 organization, and he has done 1.2k votes, and the votes have been like 220 votes in Balancer, 115 Aave, a lot of votes in Uniswap, a lot in Euler, a lot in Paladin. So you can see that this person, even though we categorize him as top active member in Bankless DAO, he may not have active stakes in Bankless DAO because what it looks like is, this guy has a lot of tokens in a number of DAOs, and the person is just going around voting on different DAOs, trying to accumulate reputation or DAO stats and things like that. It's similar when I looked at many of the people who have voted like a lot of times on Bankless. For example, even this Melson.eth, I don't know if you guys know him, but so we can see that there is a similar pattern here as well. So just judging by the amount of votes or proposals, we are still not able to find who are the core contributors of the DAO or who actually care about the organization. But if you look at the members tab, uh, one cool thing here is that this is not a strictly ordered list. Like the top, we are considering proposals created as well as token shares as well as votes into this. So if you take somebody like I don't know, iSchool.eth, um, let's look at this person's profile. So you can see that he's ranked around 2000. That's still a great ranking. 21 organizations, that's a lot. But there is a bit more balance between number of proposals and votes. It's like 30 votes and 120 proposals. 130 proposals and 120 votes. And that's a bit more believable in terms of healthy DAO activity. And when you look deeper, you can see that that makes sense. For example, in Bankless, he has done like 53 votes and 33 proposals, and he hasn't really proposed in other places. So this person looks like he may be a core contributor at Bankless. And if you look at the proposal list, you can see that he has proposed things all the way from October of last year to December 19th. That was 10 days back. So, and he has voted on Bankless's proposals from May of 2021 to, again, 10 days back. So this person has been in Bankless for over a year, approaching 2 years now. And all his DAO resume or all his DAO activity across the different DAOs that we list are aggregated here. And this is true for all addresses. Like you can search for any address on DeepDAO by toggling the switch and searching for your Ethereum address or your ENS name. And it would show you a similar profile, which shows you your DAO activity, as well as things like, who are the people that are in similar organizations as you are or are holding similar tokens as you are. So that's the people side of things. So essentially, all of this is to show that there is good on-chain pointers or data available, which can give more insight on how the organization is running or who is running the organization, or even things like who actually cares about the organization. So a lot of this is available for free through our front end. But if you need more things to analyze uh, things at a finer scale, you can also use our API. So yeah, that's a lot of things. So let's look at so since I mentioned the API, gives you access to all this data that you need and more. You can have access to things like what has been the breakdown of governance activity in my proposals. You can see things like who are the top 100 or 500 active members in my DAO, in case you want to airdrop them some rewards or give them some reputation score, or I don't know, build a guild based on their governance activity. So you can do this, or even things like suppose I want to send this person a notification based on their activity. You can actually do it through DeepDAO. Yeah. So we've had all this data, and now it comes to Brainstorm that Jairus was mentioning at the starting. So what happened was that we had all this data, and we got thinking about, damn man, this is actually useful stuff. Communities can get a lot of insights on how things are run and how things have been going on in the past. And this context is not always available to everyone. For example, many of you listening to me speaking right now might be core contributors at Bankless. And when a governance proposal actually happens at Bankless, you might be aware of, whether it is something that should go through, or if it's some random proposal proposed by somebody like this guy that should not be minded much. So when the core group is voting, or when really active members are taking part in governance, they already have this context because they are well involved with the DAO. But if you take a new joinee within the DAO, or people outside of this inner circle of contributors, they might not really know what exactly is happening in the DAO. For example, if we are debating something like, maybe we should take 200,000 from the bankless treasury and build a mobile app. So Jairus probably knows if this is a good idea or not. He probably already knows what's in the treasury, how things like this have gone in the past, who exactly is this person proposing, can our teams see a venture like this through, things like that. But to a new joinee, he may not know what's in the treasury. He may not know how governance decisions like this have affected the treasury in the past. He may not know, who exactly is this, whether it is Evolve or icedcool.eth. If it's icedcool.eth, who exactly is this person? How long has he been at Bankless? What is his DAO activity like? So we had this context, which would be very useful for DAOs to brainstorm and discuss and make informed choices. And that's how Brainstorm started. So Brainstorm is essentially, it's simply a brainstorming platform where you can discuss things on top of all this data. So you have all this data context here for free, and you have this tab called Brainstorm here. And Jairus has created a welcome brainstorm here. When I asked them to try it out, and somebody else actually replied, Brandon. So it's very easy. Like, you can log in with your MetaMask and click Brainstorm, and select things like, whether this is a treasury or development or whatever it is, and the period of activity, title, you select the body, and then you click okay, let's do it. So it publishes the Brainstorm, and people can w- like vote on it, as well as discuss or comment on it, and you can vote in comments as well. So it's a mix of snapshot and discourse. So the product is somewhere in the middle of the two, and the more important part is that you have this data context on which you can base this discussions on. For example, if Jairus welcomes you to Brainstorm, you can actually click on Jairus's profile and see that who exactly is this person. Oh, something went wrong. I'm not sure what went wrong, but normally, yeah, you can click on people's profiles and it would take you to their profiles, and yeah, you'd be able to see their DAO activity. Yeah, that's that's it about Brainstorm. Uh, do I think we are approaching the 30-minute mark, right, guys? So yeah,
Yeah. But
yep.
if you have more stuff to showcase, that's fine if you go a little over.
Well, not a lot actually. Essentially, that's most of the stuff that we have. We also have like more things. I don't know how much of it will be applicable to you, but DeepDAO also does uh, things like helping DAOs and DAO tools with customer acquisition. The site, yeah. So, like I said, we have data on people as well as intel on how. So if I were to give an example, if you are starting a new DeFi protocol or an existing DeFi protocol is experimenting with a new product, and you might want to acquire users for this particular product. So the kind of users that you may need for this product might be people who are actually using a similar product already. So for your DAO or for your protocol, it makes sense to target people who are users of similar protocols, in other DAOs and in other chains probably. The thing with Web3 is that this sort of marketing or user acquisition is quite common in Web2, as all of us know. But the thing in Web3 is that we haven't had the means or tools to reach out to those people or to actually find out who these people are. But with DeepDAO, to an extent, you have this capability. For example, if I look at a person's profile on DeepDAO, it tells me things like, what kind of DAOs is he interested in, where exactly does he like to be more active, how long has he been active, is he more active in the bear market? Can I still count on him when the market goes sideways? So it gives you intel on people like that, as well as it gives you things like, how many members do Bankless and ENS have in common. So, are there similarities between the two? Should we try also appealing to members of a different DAO in terms of acquiring users? So, based on all these data that you can use as parameters, you can set up ads on DeepDAO on people's pages, on DAO pages, so that if you are running a new beta testing or if you're trying to give out some content to the people, you can actually pass it to them much more effectively. I think it's one of the first uh, efforts of doing a similar thing in the Web3 DAOs ecosystem. So, we have that as well. The banner is supposed to be here. I don't know. I think the site is undergoing maintenance. It's at this time. It's 12. It's probably that's why it's not showing. It was showing when I started this demo. I'm sorry about it. And you can also follow organizations on DeepDAO at the moment. For example, like uh, this is a brainstorm feature. Like if you are a member of Bankless DAO and somebody starts a new brainstorm in Bankless, then you actually get notifications here. Um, if you are already following Bankless, yeah, I'm following it. You can also follow people as well as DAOs to get notifications when they uh, do brainstorms. So regarding Brainstorm, it's still a work in progress, and it's still a product that is in beta. So what we're actually trying to do is give this product to communities and collect their feedback on what they like and what they don't, so that we can make improvements to it and build it into a product that DAOs actually that are actually useful for DAOs. So that's where we stand with Brainstorm. And like I said, we also have a lot of data that can be used for different purposes. Uh, I think that's it from me largely. We can discuss any questions or comments you may have now if you have any.
Um, I'm just curious, what is the most popular feature you have in DeepDAO? Which one of these features are being used mostly?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think Salman, there are we have a lot of data for free, which is accessible through the front end I just showed you, and we also have premium stuff like the API and advertising. So when it comes to the free users or people who access our data through the front end, I'd say that we have a lot of researchers who look at data on DAOs or who wants to see their DAO resume. So we have good traffic on both of them. But if I'm talking about premium services, the API is quite has a decent demand. We have a lot of tools who use the API to understand more about customers. We have DAOs looking at their governance process and things like voter retention and things like that. We have educational institutions using it to study decentralized decision making. So paid features, I'd say the API has more demand. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And something that caught my attention was when you were showcasing Brainstorm, you mentioned that a DAO could potentially advertise on another DAO's profile. Has that ever been experimented with so far?
Yeah. So the ads are, we just started ads. Currently this is the campaign running on DeepDAO is the first campaign now, and that's actually run by DAOLens. They are a DAO tool, and they are advertising on our homepage, all the people's pages as well as profiles. So I'm currently in talks with a few DAOs, and they are defining us a few customer segments of DAOs they need, or or the kind of DAOs that are interesting for them, where there might be potential users of their protocol. So that product is coming along really nicely. We are working with a few DAOs to define or find out what exactly they need and build out the first version of it. As of now, uh, advertising is possible on the profiles of people directly on our homepage as well as on the people's page. So, yeah, targeting DAO pages directly is still being built.
Okay, cool, interesting. Yeah, we had DeepDAO present a demo. I believe it was last week. Um, yeah, great tool. So you said that they're going to be advertising. They like the first project to be advertising on DeepDAO. I don't see it
You,
on
you,
the home page.
you mean
Oh, you mean
DAOLens?
DAO? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. DAO Yeah.
Yep. They started. Yeah. That's, yep. They started. They're the first client because the ads just started a month back. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And when they advertise, does this go on just like a select few DAO's profiles, or are they able to advertise on just about every DAO's profile? How does that work?
You can do it. I mean, it's up to you on what you want. Right now, there are no banners on DAO pages, but we can like do it. It's not difficult to add a banner. The more difficult thing would be to adding banners to only the DAOs you need. For example, if you tell us you just need banners on the DAOs that have that are NFT DAOs, or that are political DAOs, or you just need banners on DAOs that have over 5 million in their treasuries. So that's what's being built. As of now, the advertising engine targets all the people profiles and the homepage. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I'm curious how DeepDAO operates. Like, is DeepDAO a DAO? Do you all have contributors, or is it a team? Is it an office?
Yeah, we're not a DAO yet. We might be in the future, probably. Yeah, but we don't have a token that greatly limits our ability to become a DAO. Currently, it's a very small team, mainly based out of Israel. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Do you have any positions open at DeepDAO if someone wanted to contribute there now?
Yeah. The contribution culture actually, does not. Uh, we haven't really worked on that part yet, to be honest, because there is no DAO at the moment. We do not have a lot of on-chain presence on our side. Like we don't actively participate in other governances for other DAOs, or we don't have like a multisig that pays contributors or things like that. So currently, it's a very closely knit Web2 kind of a team. So if we had any positions open, it would be full-time contracts of people working at a startup. So you can definitely apply to those by mailing to us or just DMing me. Yeah.
All right, cool. I figure we probably would need some extra marketers on the team, especially to get the word out on Brainstorm.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. we've been quite active on that front actually. Like we've been doing like 2 or 3 events every week for the past month. You know, so it's going quite nicely, but for sure, like we could use extra hands. So feel free to message me, and I'll let you know if we have any roles open.
All right, sweet. Like, I'm interested, and I know some folks in Bankless DAO will probably be interested as well. We have some talented marketers within the marketing guild. So yeah, there's a lot of talent here in Bankless DAO.
Yeah, I know. I was actually talking with like Aaron and Adam like some time back. They started a Live 5 DAO, which does like these beta tests and things like that, right? So it's cool to see that you guys are actually branching out and cultivating this pool of talented people. That's great to see.
Yeah, thanks. Any anything else you would like to highlight from DeepDAO before we close the demo?
Not really. If I were to give you an ending note, it is to say that we have a lot of data that could answer any or many of the questions that you may have. These questions could be things starting from who to send a new token to, or which user might be a good fit for a new product that we're developing, or is this person actually a good contributor, or even minting POAPs. You can mint on POAPs. You can mint POAPs based on the data that you get on DeepDAO. You can mint POAPs for things like Jairus just did 100 votes at Bankless. Let's mint him a POAP. So uh,
How do you
modeling the organization. Yeah.
how do you
Yes,
do the
Salman.
POAP?
Yeah, well, basically, you can access the data through the API and use it to mint a POAP.
You mean you can generate like a snapshot based on your customized category? Is that
Not, I mean, so like if I'm just talking about the same thing, like for example, I said that if if this particular person does like 10 votes in Bankless, let's mint him a POAP. So to do a use case like that, you can just query your Ethereum address or your whichever wallet address is in our API. It would give you the number of proposals and votes and your activity period and all those details that you have done at Bankless, and you can actually use this data to mint a POAP. You can do it directly, or we are talking with them on integrating, so you can even do it any way you want. Yeah, yeah. So minting badges, finding people, advertising to them. So all of this is possible. So do play around the platform. If you are members of other DAOs, do check out the Brainstorm. Invite your friends to try it out. We'd very much appreciate it if you could give us some